Come to Remora TC to trade like a shark and not get eaten by one. Let's school together to protect and grow our money. Hi everyone, welcome back to Remora TC. It's been a week since I've done a video. We have a whole bunch of tickers to review. So let's see how my predictions from last week went. The first one we're looking at is Whirlpool. This is one of a handful of tickers that I've informed all of you are good setups for long trades. And we can see here all this bullish divergence that has built up. And I've put the whale symbols here to inform everyone that it's a good setup, that the whales are coming back in, they're accumulating. I call it an accumulation phase. And you can see my prediction from last week is very much to the upside. Right now, price remains underneath this 42.39 zone, 42.50 zone, which I talked about as a good place to take a trade if price gets above it. Right now, it's still underneath it, so just wait. Overall, the move is to the upside. The first zone of resistance is this purple trend line here, or you might even say the entry to the gap. But ultimately, the overall movement is further up. I'll just zoom out real quick just to give you a look, okay? So perhaps the second zone is up here. I'll kind of go like this. There you go. Second zone of resistance, or you might call out another target, is here, this upper part of this channel. But for now, we're going to play it up to here, up to the 200-day even, or the gap fill, okay? So that is Whirlpool, still to the upside. Up next is Nike. Nike has been staying a little bit further below where I thought it would be already. I put this whale symbol here, informing folks that the accumulation phase has started. It's a bullish move. And I thought that price would reclaim this trend line support up here. Okay. At the moment, you can see price is bouncing down here. My question then is, and the question you should ask me is, is there a change in momentum? And I'm looking down here in the RSI, and I don't see a change in momentum apart from a continuation of this bullish move. I'm in this trade myself. I'm a little bit underwater, in fact, but I'm staying in it because likely what they'll do is they'll gap it up. And if you're familiar with how trades often work, is they'll gap it up and down just so that folks can't get a good entry or a good exit. Okay, that's just kind of how it will take place. So I'm still bullish Nike, and if you can get the entry above this red line, excuse me, this trend line here, that's my safest bet for you, is to get an entry up here above it. Then the 200-day is a nice target, at least, okay? Let's, yeah, 200 days. So it could be a 15% move to the 200-day, or the gap fill of maybe 20%, and then we'll reassess after, okay? So that is the Nike trade. Here is Northrop. Northrop is, let's see, the past week, you can see price has been selling off, okay? My prediction was that the zone of resistance to take profit is up here where the purple trend line is, or even around the 200-day. But you can see over the past week that price has continued to go down. Now, I'm looking down here at the volume. I don't see a lot of volume to warrant a panic sell for those who are long on Northrop. In fact, I wouldn't get out of the trade yet if you're already in it from, let's say, down here. Now, I'm going to draw let's draw this trend line here. I'm just going to eyeball this real quick. Let's make it black as well. And what I'm seeing is I'm seeing the support here. I'm going to go like this. I'm going to pull this down just a little bit. Okay. All right. So this sell-off I'm going to go to the hourly. I'm going to check this real quick. So if you check on the hourly, you see how price is down here, okay? And it's moving in a downward fashion. But you can see on the RSI, on the hourly, that the RSI is increasing. Okay, so likely what will happen over the next day or two is that there will be a retest underneath. So I anticipate price will come back up, retest underneath, and we'll have to see how it behaves if my tune for Northrop is to the downside. I do observe, I'm going to look at this carefully. I'm looking at this point here and this one here and how it coincides with price. You can see that the RSI is increasing here over this time frame and price is increasing. So it's in parallel, it's in unison. So there is, in my opinion, no change in momentum. This is just price manipulation, people panicking, whatever, people selling. There is no change in my prediction. If anything, I'll go like this, okay? There you go. So no change. Northrop is a good trade to be in at the moment, long. Switching to the gold miners play, GDX. Give me a second here. Okay, I am bullish this one. Okay, overall I'm bullish based on all this tremendous bullish momentum down here. Okay, all this price action is downward, momentum is strong to the upside. But as price moved down here all the way up here, if you were in the trade, right, when I told you to get in, you'd be up about 50%, okay? Now, I do remember telling folks, you know, the best entry would be down here on the support line. So I didn't say jump into it. So that's just how I remember explaining it. I said, you know what? I would want them to push price down to this support down here before you jump in. So anyway, if you jumped in anywhere else, let's say you jumped in above this trend line here, excuse me, this price point of 77, I said, hey, that's a good zone of support. Hence I made the green annotation down here. If you can get down there, get your entry, then you'd be up about 37%, 35%. Okay, so good for you. I'd be happy for you. Now, I did observe momentarily some bearish divergence here. Okay, that was last week. Hence, I annotated it here in red and I put the shark here. So my gut feeling as of last week was that the momentum was changing and that price would likely dip down to the 200-day before resuming its upward move. So this was a momentary move. But you can see that price only did the first part of it. It moved up, okay? My prediction was it would move up and then move down. Well, it's moved up, so it's followed that. So the question is there further momentum, a continuation of this red one, to inform us that there is a bigger move downward? Right now, I don't see it, okay? I'm going to leave this here because it's a reminder that there was a indication, according to my methods, that a momentum change is coming. So I'm going to re-annotate this just a little bit to show where resistance will be. I'm going to put the resistance up here at gap entry, and I'm going to remove this guy, and I'm going to remove this guy. All right, so there is resistance here at gap entry. I think price will then hit the gap entry, bounce back down. It may find support here at 98, but I do see this gap here that will be a magnet to pull price down. So I think the play is take your profits up here. I mean, right now is a good time to take profit. Take your profit. Take some position off the table because I think price is going to dip back down, hit the 200-day before it resumes its upward move. Okay, so that's the play for GDX. I don't see a change in momentum. There is no bearish momentum at the moment. Let's switch to Procter Gamble. All right, this is also a long play, and you can see how I annotated this zone of support here. See this? Okay, that is right there. I put it there. That's a zone of support, and price is above it now. So what I anticipate, and I talked about this for a while, I'll zoom out just to give you a longer term view. I said, hey, all of this bullishness is accumulation. And hence I put two whales, double whales, to really emphasize this is accumulation. And all the subsequent price action is just sideways action. Just bear with it. And right now, price is and has remained above this green trend line. Okay, so it is accumulating. People are accumulating, and there's no change in my annotation. I'm keeping it. Okay, my prediction is Procter & Gamble bullish. I'll let it run. I'm in this trade, so I'm going to let it run. Switching to triple Qs. This is the Nasdaq. I mean, it is playing out nearly as I anticipated. Okay, last week, for weeks now, I've talked about this, this line here, this trend line here. Okay, and I said that this trend line is going to pose resistance, and it did. It posed resistance here, and you can see price gap down. And I thought, I think what they're going to do is they're going to push price up, hit resistance before selling it off. Okay, they didn't quite do that. You can see that they sold it off a little bit, but with very little volume. So I'm not convinced that this downward move is going to continue right away. I think instead, I'm just going to slide this over because my overall direction is to the downside. You see that? Okay, I'm not changing that tune. I'm just fine-tuning where price is now. So I think they're going to bring price up. They're going to do that just because they need to confuse people. Okay, the more people they can confuse, the more they can earn money. The sharks can earn money. So my prediction, they're going to gap fill, hit the resistance up here before resuming the selling. Okay, and I'm going to adjust the 200-day just a little bit like that. Okay, it's flattening out. Overall, this is not the time to go long triple Qs. There is no change. There's no bullish momentum change. We're just playing out this bearish momentum change. And you can see here, I put the shark, okay? All right, on to Microsoft. Microsoft is behaving as I anticipated. I talked about how they're going to push price back to retest the lower side of this wedge. Okay, so here's the zone of resistance. Where's the wedge? Well, here's the pizza wedge right here. Okay, this is the pizza wedge. It's a flag, and what we're seeing is we're not seeing any bullish momentum. Okay, this one is a classic fake out. Okay, and you're going to say, why is it so classic? I just made up that word. It sounds good because look, you've got bearish momentum here, right into resistance. Hence, I put the shark. Okay, and boom, there's the sell-off, and then the price moving upward, but with no momentum change down here. There's no momentum change. Okay, so what does that mean? That means all of this movement is just price. It could be market makers manipulating price. It could be the sharks putting the narrative out there to get you excited to buy back in. It could be dip buyers buying in. It could be anything. I mean, look at this earnings right here, right? The earnings results were so positive. They always do stuff like this. Oh, so positive. Look, 11% surprise on the earnings and revenue up 3%. Oh my goodness. So boom, they gapped it up huge. This gap is a huge magnet. So price is going to move up. Don't get excited and buy into Microsoft right now. Price is going to continue to move up, hit resistance, and then sell off. Okay, so if you can take your profits up here, do it, because this is not the time to go long Microsoft. Okay, over to Bitcoin, this one really faked me out. And now I'm being straight up with you. It faked me out from the standpoint of I made two predictions, and I'm being very upfront with you. And you've been following my channel, so over the past month or so, I've been saying that all of this sideways action, though I put the whale here, I put the whale straight up because of the bullish momentum. So from how I do analysis, I acknowledge that the data tells me this is a change in momentum long, okay? Hence I put the green line down here, and I put the whale to say it's a long setup. Now, and you can see I'm taking a breath. I'm taking a breath because I don't have confidence in the way that Bitcoin moves to tell everybody to go long. So even though the data said so, and I put the whale in here because my method of trading, my method of analysis told me that is what the data shows me, and that all this sideways action is what I thought was just accumulation, but I didn't think that there would be a breakout. Okay, in my videos, I said, you know what? I think they would push price up and it would hit resistance and then sell off. Hence, my double lines going downward here. And in the past week, you can see it didn't sell off. You can see that there's some decent volume to the upside. So that's just acknowledging that I made the wrong call. So now let me reassess for Bitcoin where things are. So give me a moment here, clean this up, clean up the 200-day because it's way off. 200-day now is going sideways here. So I'm going to delete this. All right, so let's take a look at this. Let's delete this for now, just so that it's a little bit easier to read. All right, so now what we have is we have a big flag, okay? I'm going to draw the flag for you. So let's go to the hourly real quick. Big flag pattern. And let's draw this real quick. The upper bounds of the flag and the lower bounds. So this is the these are the hourly candles, okay? So don't confuse them for the daily. In fact, I'm going to move this down just a little bit like this. All right. So you can see how I did this. Okay, see that? All these touches here. Maybe I'll push this one around just a little bit like that. All right. So this you can see is an upward channel. Okay, it's a flag. And as this is going up, so this is a newer high here, you can see the momentum going down. This is on the hourly, so don't get too excited that it's a momentum change. It's just my annotation to help me read this one a little bit. Now I'm going to switch it over to the daily. Okay, on the daily, how does it look? All right, so on the daily you can see there's the channel and there is some momentum change to the downside. Okay, even on the daily here, you can see it. All right, so what I see happening is price will break down. Okay, so it may attempt, let's say, it may attempt to retest this spot here. Give me a second as I line this up straighter. I'm eyeballing it. It's like that. Okay, like that. Okay. That might pose resistance, okay, to go along with this one over here. So I'm going to make this, I don't know, I'll make it a, there. There may be some resistance there, okay? So I'm going to put this up here, show it as resistance. So it may retest that area, okay? And I'm going to just delete this line just real quick. There you go. So there's some resistance up here. I see resistance up here because there is a momentum change. It's only a small one. So I'm not going to put the shark yet. But they may retest this, what is it? Resistance from the high from back in May. Okay. And then we will see, because this is quite a lot of overbought up here. So we will see. I think there's lower prices coming for Bitcoin. So I'll put the arrow in. Resistance up here. Probably retest the 200-day. So the 200-day probably goes something like that. Yeah, quick draw like that. Retest the 200-day, and we'll see where it goes again. So if you were not in this trade long already, well, this is not the time to go long. Okay, just be thankful that you got pushed it up here. Maybe take some profit if you're, because I see lower prices coming. Now, if I were to switch to the weekly, let's take a look at this real quick. The weekly chart. The weekly chart paints a different picture. There's a lot of positive momentum down here. Okay, that's on the weekly chart. So yeah, I'm taking this one with a big grain of salt. My prediction of a 42K downside at the moment doesn't seem to be in the picture. The 58K one, which the prediction I made back in November, played out nearly perfectly. The low here, what's this, the low here? The low here was 58.5. So yeah, perfect prediction from November. But at the moment, I don't have a prediction for you, okay? I just see lower prices coming. How far down? I don't know. It may not get down to 42. We'll have to see how it plays out in this zone here. Let's switch to American Express. This one, my prediction is to the downside, remains the same. There's the bearish momentum. Put the shark here to reinforce it, reinforce my message. And you can see that price is bouncing along the 200-day. My arrow remains to the downside. There's no change in momentum. Okay, so I'll just slide this over. It's playing out, pretty much as I had annotated. So further low prices for American Express. And the American Express is just, one of the many financials. They're all going to behave the same way. The oil proxies, Exxon Mobil. Okay, so last week I said this is a zone of resistance, and I said, they might bait us by poking it above this resistance and coming up to about 175 almost. Okay, and I put the word bait here and this nice fishing rod to remind you that I called it a bait. Well, right now, you can see that price is just bouncing off of resistance here, moving further to the downside. Okay, so there's no change in momentum. The direction is to the downside. If anything, this is an area of resistance that if you want to trade with the sharks and trade to the downside, short, for example, then this is a good zone for a short. Okay, so those are the tickers for this week. I hope you found some value in my analysis and my honesty, and I hope that your trades go well. Please give me a thumbs up, like my material, hit the notification bell, share it with your friends and family, and let me know what you want me to analyze. Put it in the comments, and that'll help me take a look at something that perhaps I haven't seen yet, and it might help you with the trade. All the best.